Today I'm going to show you a few ways you can make a gyroscope, a few useful and simple logic gate mechanisms without needing to know how computers work, some lethal glitches and mechanics using sensors, and every noticeable change left unmentioned by Chillthrill on the day the update came out. So, let's get straight into that bomb over there. First off, using this unstable boat as an example, for a gyroscope that keeps things at a consistent upright angle, place the rope on any anchored ground and on the object, set the rope length to infinity, and that's it. But this version has very little uses. However, by placing a hinge below the rope, objects connected to it will also be able to steer side to side and stay upright. For heavier builds, you will want to place some weights on the rope connected to the ground. Otherwise, it'll be useless at keeping the build upright. To make a gyroscope for rolling blocks, place any block in the air and another block of any kind on the side. Place the wheel facing upward, place two rods like so, and place the wheel facing sideways. Then place the rope on the center of the wheel and at the center of the block that will appear to be moving. Set the rope length to infinity, set the wheel torque to green and the wheel speed to 5. The top wheel could be practically any speed since it'll be rolling, so I'm going to set the top wheel speed to 10. To actually move the block, place a car seat on the ground, bind the bottom wheel to A and D, and now you can hide the rope in extra block and save everything. I will note that if you're going to use the all new remote controller for this, do not bind it to WASD. Trying to move any vehicle or object while moving your character at the same time will not work well on either end. Now you can unanchor everything, and if any of the wheels don't steer correctly, just change the reverse spin property. Now you have a pet block. Just don't feed it too much sugar. For a simple remote control plane, place a wheel facing upward, place 3 rods like so, and place another wheel facing sideways. Set the wheel torque to green and the speed to about 3 for both wheels. Change the reverse spin property in case steering is incorrect when binding. Place a long heavy block like titanium into the wheel. Place a jet turbine in the air. Place the block directly phasing through it, and place the rope on the front of the titanium and on the rear end of the block. Set the rope length to infinity and beyond. And since this is going to move around in the air, place a camera on the block, place a car seat on the ground, unbind it from everything, bind the jet and camera to any bind the top wheel to W and S, and bind the bottom wheel to A and D. Now set collision off for the titanium pole, hide the other block, rope, and the camera, and save if you wish to do so. Unanchor all, and now you have a remote controlled jet. I'm not strapping bombs onto this, I've had enough with the exploding. Here's how you can use the logic gates to quickly activate blocks like jet turbines and pistons. And for simplicity's sake, I'm going to color code the input and output with these colors. First, place some logic gates in this shape. Place the delay on the empty spot, set the mill gate to XOR, and just bind them like this. After that, set the delay time to a short number depending on how long the activation should last for, which I will use 0.1, and now it can be binded and will activate for a set period of time. And as of now, the best thing I know this could be used for is making a dash ability with a jet turbine or a boat motor, but I'm curious to see how else this will be used. Here's how to make a toggle with one button, without using this SR latch T flip-flop, I don't know, a toggle. Place 5 logic gates like so and place a delay block between these two. Set the delay to 0.05 and turn on the legacy property. Set this gate to XOR and bind them all like so. Now it can be activated and will change its toggle state for every on signal sent through. I find this especially useful for toggling things like pistons, wheels, and servos with a car seat or a button, which would usually activate based on whether or not you're holding a button or two. Now I'm going to be honest, these things are what made these cinematic shorts possible in the first place. You know, other than FreeCam. Okay, delay loops. You know how you could link 2 delays together and they would toggle things forever? Well, now you can do this by pairing a regular delay to a NOT gate and back to the delay to get this even faster loop. But this isn't the crazy part. The crazy part is when you link a regular logic gate to a NOT gate. I feel like toggle fast flashes should also affect logic gates because they currently do not. To To make an automatic rapid fire turret, place either a legacy wheel or a back wheel facing up. Place a long pole on the top and scale it depending on how many cannons are going to be used. Place 3 cannons on each side of the pole and turn their aim property off. Then place sensors on either the top or bottom of each side. Unbind both from everything. Scale them by 1 stud on the bottom, by 0.9 studs on each side, and however long their range should be. 40 studs in my case. I will warn you that if their range is too long, they will be more likely to miss whatever they shoot at. Place a delay on each end of the pole, preferably close to the cannons. Set their delay time to 0.1, bind the sensors to the delays and the delays to the cannons. And to control the aiming, find a separate area from the turret and place logic gates like so. Place a delay near them and set the delay to a number higher than the cannon's delay time, 0.2 in my case. This will determine how long the turret will wait before switching to the next set of cannons. Set the top logic gates to NAND and NOR, and the bottom logic gates to XOR and OR, and bind them like so. Now bind the sensors to the NOR gate, bind the wheel to the OR gate, set the wheel speed to any number at or below 5, and the torque to green, and now you can save it if you wish to do so. Now you have this powerful machinery that has an extremely high chance of hitting any player that comes in range. But believe it or not, this was not made to have such a small mouse size like 2. If you have the trowel tool, you can clone it to have more shots and increase its accuracy. But just remember to bind any new sensors to the NOR gate. And boom! If you're going to clone the whole turret, I'd suggest to move the logic gates onto the turret itself, and since sensors can't detect each other, you could make the turrets intersect each other, not phasing through, to give players more of a bullet rush to face. Now, I'm going to assume that the majority of you watching will not be able to make the rest of these mechanisms as they both involve the boxing glove, which is unfortunately no longer attainable as of the time of the new update. To make the boxing glove trap on the wall, let's assume this brick wall is laced with poison. Place a boxing glove anywhere on the wall, place a sensor beneath it and scale it to a minimum of 4x8 studs. Otherwise you could avoid it more easily. Unbind the boxing glove from the sensor and move it back by 14 studs so it goes completely unnoticed. Place 2 pistons facing away from it and set their length to 7 and speed to 600. Then for the boxing glove mechanics, place a delay and a logic gate near the boxing glove, set the logic gate to a NOT gate, set the delay time to 0.05, bind them like so. Connect the pistons to the ground, hide the whole mechanism, and now you can save this thing. Unanchor all, and now anyone who steps too close will be sent 20 feet into the stratosphere. For a boxing glove trap on the ground, place the boxing glove anywhere facing up and place a sensor next to it. Unbind the sensor, move the boxing glove up by 10 studs and temporarily move the sensor away from it if it gets stuck. Scale the sensor to somewhere around this size. Place any block on the side and scale it outward. Place 3 pistons facing down, color coding the top one if you have the paint tool. Set the length of the bottom 2 pistons to 7 and the speed to 600, and the length of the top one to 10. The speed won't matter too much. Connect the pistons to the ground, unbind the sensor from everything, place the switch away from the mechanism, place a logic gate and a delay, set the logic gate to a NOT gate. Like the wall mechanism, bind the pair the same way. Place 2 logic gates separately and set them to NOT gates, with the last one being a NOR gate. Bind them like so. Hide the main mechanism, and now you can save this. And when you unanchor and flip the switch, stepping in range will... To spam the new stun effect, find your nearby wall, place a boxing glove facing the wall, and move it to where it won't fling you much. Now spam click the boxing glove while spam jumping at the same time and... what was I talking about again? Or, as an easier method, place a boxing glove next to your character, clip a jetpack, place 2 anchored hinges on the jetpack, and... Now we get on to the changes from this recent update that Chillthrill did not mention on the development log. Ropes, bars, and springs no longer have a limit on their length.
Bruh.
No! God, please, no! 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 No!
You can now move diagonally with a pilot seat instead of having to repeatedly press a horizontal and vertical key. Red jets now turn red when they're out of fuel instead of black. Boxing gloves are now client-sided, making their reaction time unaffected by your network connection. Standing in water now makes swimming noises like you would find in terrain water. And lastly, the arcade stage has been almost completely redesigned. Of course, you can still get the Zeg plushie through the button minigame.
Aw, dang it! Aw, dang it!
And the Space Invaders will still attack the player the same way as before. I'm pretty sure this redesign was made by Skelsis, so that's cool.
Huh?
What's new with the electronic stage? Oh, and did I mention this update made a new grinder possible?